Some of you have been asking me in the comment section if I've seen the Steam console leak. I did see it. It is a leak, and so I just kind of left it. Now, let's dive into this part of the hardware thing because for the most part, I kind of saw this sneaking up on everyone, but not in the console sense, simply because Steam kind of said it. Believe you me, Steam has been targeting console players, especially with their latest device that is out there. No one really said it, but Steam themselves say it. This is the Steam Deck page, and where they advertise it, they said powerful portable PC gaming designed for comfort and a console-like user experience. Those of you who are on console, you've had many discussions with me. I've made many videos, you've watched many videos, and you've sworn that you will never game on a PC, even though you do game on a PC branded as an Xbox PC or a PlayStation PC. Now, they call it their console, but it is a computer gaming device. That's what it is. And so Steam now has the data, everything it needs from the comment section, from your tweets, and from your declarations that you will never play on a PC to go into the market and make something that will get the job done. It's ideally for you. It's going to have Steam OS for the most part, which is Steam's own proprietary operating system, and it's going to give you that experience that simplicity pretty much brings to the table. Ain't that what you said you wanted? You said you wanted simplicity, right? So guess who's going to give you simplicity? Valve. Believe it or not, you may say that this is a stretch because these are rumors, but the rumors seem to have a lot of weight behind it because at one point in time, there was a Steam machine from Alienware. It appears that the need for a device that has accessibility across the board is something that gamers might be looking for. And the way Steam actually operates, this may really be a very interesting thing. And believe you me, I don't even have to wait to see if console players are going to buy it. Console players are already enjoying that experience via a Steam Deck, either a Rogue Ally, a Lenovo Legion, or other handheld devices like the MSI Claw. If I even took a survey right now, and from what I've been seeing, some of you've entered into even the handheld gaming on the Steam side, you're already in it. You were looking for a low-cost, simplistic way to get into the PC ecosystem via Steam, and some of you bought a Steam Deck. Some of you bought a Rogue Ally or the Rogue Ally X. Welcome to PC gaming. At the end of the day, there's something you saw there that made you interested, and most of you seem like you like your experience. And so I think Valve is now trying to come in and capitalize on this. And so there's almost no reason, if this becomes a thing, that Xbox will maintain a closed ecosystem. Why? Valve is pro-consumer as heck. The Steam Deck itself supports Windows, supports Linux, supports different, various kinds of systems on it. Even Valve went ahead at one point after people started asking to provide drivers for your, Steam Deck to be able to work as a Windows computer. This pretty much makes the Steam Deck more valuable, seeing as the other handhelds that have come to the market, like the Rogue Ally, the Lenovo Legion, have Windows native on them. So your Steam Deck can now do exactly the same if you prefer that operating system in the way that you run your software and your games. So this is actually pretty cool. It's pretty interesting to see, and a lot of people seem like they're interested in what's going on. It's kind of surprising, though, ladies and gentlemen, that, when you look at the way things are, it's always framing at the end of the day. Now, I made a video a while ago where I was talking about how you can make your gaming PC already do what this Steam OS is pretty much going to do. It's not rocket science. I'm going to go ahead and show you here in a second because a lot of people have been super doubtful as to the, in quotes, simple nature of a console compared to a PC. I talked about how, you can use things like big picture mode. You can go in and you can basically set up your system to be able to do some cool stuff. But for some, it seemed like that paradigm was just way out there for them. So here is my Steam library, and I can do some settings where I can go basically into my Steam. I can open up my settings, and I can, allow for my Steam to launch in what's called big picture mode. This is basically whenever Steam launches, it will go into this interface that looks just like a library, a console, a storefront. All of the above is in there. I'm not going to do that in these settings. So which means when I turn my PC on, it will go. I can basically set Steam on, to launch on startup, and then Steam will follow the next operation to launch the interface. This is exactly what your PlayStation 5 and your Xbox Series X does. They will both launch their operating system. In the case of the Xbox, it's Windows, and go straight to the startup interface that has other things that have been set there for you. On the PlayStation side, it will do the exact same thing. I'm going to launch SteamOS for, you guys now, which is big picture mode. Well, Steam big picture mode, which basically is what SteamOS is going to mimic. Let me be very correct in this regard. And then once I click it, it's basically going to go ahead and launch Steam, and boom. This is it. It launches it in this particular paradigm. If you notice, it's like, basically giving you now a much more simplified way to view your library. All your games are now situated here. You can see them. If they're installed, you can play them. If they're not installed, you cannot play them. My controller is not connected to this particular PC, but hey, it is what it is. I'm just using it to show you as an example. It's got news. It's got all kinds of stuff. I think and I could just use my mouse, to be able to navigate through it as well, to be able to see all what's there at the end of the day. So I can go ahead and I can get away from, the Steam OS mode, or I could just go to my library and continue to scan what my recent games are. I can also go to my full-blown library at the end of the day if I wanted to, and a controller will be able to take you through. And this is how your Steam Deck looks as well, by the way. This is the exact same, interface. You can separate by installed games, and this is my, content creation PC. So I basically have almost no games installed on here, and you can pretty much go and check through all what's going on. And, this is exactly what a lot of console players have said they want to do. This has been in existence, by the way, for many, many years. This is not new. And I remember using it when I was doing the living room build. Kids were really little at the time, and so I didn't want to be stuck in an office doing videos and then gaming in there. So I got myself a long HDMI cable, and I walked that HDMI cable from one of my builds to the TV, and I just got my wireless controller, and I could just be available in a sense. If I had to throw my controller away and change a diaper and hug on a kid and run outside and play soccer, that was basically the point. And I think Steam basically got this, idea that many people were coming from consoles to PC, and them, basically streamlining the experience to help those people was on their minds. It was a good amount of people at the end of the day, and then you can go ahead and you can close it if you wanted to. So if you want to get out of here, you can basically go out and say, exit big picture mode. It's going to go ahead and exit big picture mode, and you'll be able to have access to what it is that you want. They want me to take the Steam hardware survey. Nope. I will skew the data. I told y'all, don't ask me. I'm not going to take this particular thing. Maybe I could take it with my gaming PC, but again, back and forth, you can game wherever you want. So I think this is actually very interesting. I wanted to show you guys big picture mode later down the road in full, like in its full, implementation when I finish building the mini ITX build. But again, this particular story has come into light, and I think the demand is here. So if you are wondering how this Steam machine is going to work, it's going to be as streamlined as your console. It's going to have a Steam, more than likely it's going to come with a Steam controller, which is actually pretty nice. It's not an easy device to come by. I think they stopped making version 1. There was talk that there was a version 2 in the works, and I'm not going to slack. The moment this thing shows up, oh, God willing, I want to get myself one. I wasted time the last time. There's also another device that Steam has that it discontinued. It's called a Steam Link. This was a device where you could connect it to the internet and then connect it to your TV. So Steam's been on the point. I actually own one of those, which is weird. I owned, they discontinued it, and so they were clearing out stock, and they sold them for $7.99. So they sold it for $7.99, and you could only buy like one every so often. And I remember buying me one and then, telling a friend about it, and we bought a few others. And it's a small device, and once you bought it and you got it, it had SteamOS on it, which basically was like big picture mode. Let me show you guys here. And it looked just like this. It was a tiny little device that you could buy for, I paid $7.99 for it, $7.99, not $799. And what it did was it would stream your games from your PC over your internet connection, and the latency was actually pretty good. It wasn't like a terrible latency if your internet connection was fortified. You could connect a Ethernet cable with it. You could use Wi-Fi, and this is the HDMI port right here. You could just connect it to your TV, and you had a USB port. You could do a mouse and keyboard, or you could do your wireless control for your controller. It had Bluetooth on it. So Steam's been innovating for a while and trying to come in to get this market to get exactly what it is that they want. the competition is on. And if you buy a Steam device, that device is not just going to be for Steam, because Steam is user-friendly and pro-consumer in a sense. You can take that device and then start to customize it. This is what Xbox should do, man. Xbox should not sit there and let Steam get in the market there, because if Steam gets in the market there, it kind of makes no sense for them anymore. Because what they need to do is do a branded Xbox that gives you that back end that those who want to tinker a little bit and make it really simple for them. It's a Windows-based OS, so the paradigm of locking your console when you already want to unlock your exclusives, to me, doesn't really make any sense. That's how you're going to basically be able to take hardware from, a good amount of hardware anyways from PlayStation. Now, is Xbox going to do it? I think Steam is probably going to be the force that has them even thinking of or considering it at any rate. But we don't know how it's going to go, though, because, they want to control their ecosystem. They want to make money. So think about it, too. Subscribers to Game Pass and subscribers to Game Pass Core and all of that, they're going to lose a lot of them. If they sell a machine where you can go to Steam and buy the games and play without needing a subscription, they're going to go away. So Microsoft needs to be able to think about that business model. Maybe it just needs to go ahead and eliminate it altogether so that whoever wants to still buy a traditional Xbox can keep a traditional Xbox and say, I don't want to deal with that. And then whoever is savvy enough can still go into the PC side, but via Xbox at the end of the day. Opportunities everywhere, and the market shifting is so nice. I like this. This is what you want to see in a market. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.